This is not just a movie about a bomb, it's a film about a man who realized too late that he changed the future forever. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to man. For this, he was chained to a rock and tortured for eternity. In 2023, Christopher Nolan didn't just give us a biopic about the man who brought us atomic fire. He gave us a 3-hour-long panic attack. Robert Oppenheimer is often called the father of the atomic bomb. But through the lens of Nolan's IMAX cameras, he looks less like a father and more like a ghost haunted by a future he helped create. Welcome to CineSpine Official. Today we are dissecting the spine of Oppenheimer. We aren't just talking about the history of Los Alamos. We are looking at the invisible layers, the sound, the color theory, and the practical obsession that make this film one of the most terrifying cinematic experiences of the decade. If you felt a strange sense of intimacy during the film, it wasn't an accident. Nolan wrote the screenplay in the first person. The script literally said, "I walk into the room," or "I see the light." This brings us to the first structural layer, the color. The scenes in vivid, high-contrast color are labeled Fission. This is Oppenheimer's subjective reality. Every spark, every vibration, every emotional meltdown is felt as he feels it. The world is saturated because for him, physics was a world of vivid intuition. Contrast this with the grainy, black and white sequences labeled Fusion. This is Lewis Strauss's world. It is objective, cold, and bureaucratic. By stripping away the color, Nolan strips away the soul. He forces us to see Oppenheimer not as a person but as a political problem to be solved. This binary structure is the heartbeat of the movie, a constant battle between the man who dreams in light and the system that operates in shadows. Modern Hollywood, big means loud. But Nolan knows that the most terrifying thing in the world isn't a loud noise, it's the absence of one. Let's talk about the Trinity Test. When the bomb detonates, there's a blinding light. In any other movie, you'd hear a massive bass-boosted explosion immediately. But Nolan gives us 90 seconds of pure, agonizing silence. We only hear Oppenheimer's breathing. We see the fire consuming the sky, but we hear the internal state of a man realizing he has just ended one world and started another. And then, the sound hits. But it's not just an explosion sound, it's the roar of the atmosphere being torn apart. This sound design follows us back to the gymnasium scene. The stomping of the feet isn't just applause, it's the sound of the bomb. It's the sound of the soldiers marching. It's the sound of the thousands of lives that will be lost in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Nolan uses sound as a bridge between the present and the guilt of the future. An era where every blockbuster is a green screen mess, Nolan made a 3-hour film about quantum physics with 0 CGI shots. Every spark of subatomic energy, every visualization of a dying star, and even the Trinity explosion itself was done practically. Why does this matter? Because your brain can tell the difference. CGI is math, practical effects are physics. When the team used composite shots of burning magnesium and thermite to simulate the quantum world, it gave the atoms a weight. It made the science feel dangerous. When Oppenheimer looks at the stars and sees the fire, we see it too not as a cartoon effect but as a tangible, burning reality. This commitment to the physical world is what gives Oppenheimer its spine. It anchors a complex, theoretical story in a world that feels heavy, dusty, and real. Most haunting part of the film isn't the bomb, it's the ending, the conversation between Einstein and Oppenheimer. Nolan brings us back to those ripples in the pond. At the start of the film, they represent the beauty of physics. At the end, they represent the chain reaction of nuclear war. Oppenheimer tells Einstein, "I believe we did." He believes they already started the chain reaction that will destroy the world. The movie ends with a series of nuclear explosions across the globe. But these aren't triumphant, they are quiet, cold, and final. The spine of this film isn't a hero's journey, it's a tragedy about a man who gave humanity the power to commit suicide, and then spent the rest of his life hoping they wouldn't pull the trigger. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer is a reminder of what cinema can be when it dares to be complex. It's a film that demands your attention, your hearing, and your conscience. Through color, sound, and a refusal to use digital shortcuts, Nolan created a bridge between the 1940s and our modern anxiety. Robert Oppenheimer might have been the man who moved the world, but Nolan is the director who showed us why it hasn't stopped shaking since. Thank you for watching this deep dive on CineSpine Official. If you want to see more dissections of the greatest scripts and films in history, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. What should we dissect next? The mind of the Joker, the dreams of Inception? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, look closer at the frames.